So I just watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. Finally! Oh, come on, put down your pitchforks, you ungrateful bastards! Oh hi, welcome to So I Just Watched, the show that predicted when the Fire Nation would attack, but didn't tell anyone. God, I'm so evil. Anyway, let's look at Avatar and see whether after all these years it can live up to its hype. No, not that one. Oh dear lord, not that one! Oh, there we go, that's much better. Yeah, the fact it's taken me over 15 years to give this a watch has probably ensured some of you have suffered aneurysms. But when I was growing up watching cartoons with my twin brother, I just couldn't click with it. Mostly because he liked it, therefore it meant by proxy that I couldn't. I know, it's fickle, but this is just what happens when siblings have to coexist. And yes, this picture is of us. We are twins. Do not ask! When I was younger, I preferred shows that were episodic, relatively simple to follow, and were mostly comedy orientated. This Nickelodeon production that didn't actually feel like that to me from the outset meant that I felt it was a bit out of my comfort zone to where I just let it pass me by. Hell, a lot of cartoons from 2005 until around a decade later rarely ever struck a chord with me. I mean, when they did, they slowly consumed my existence, but that's by the by. And that's why when I discovered anime and became a slice-of-life loving degenerate as my anxiety towards conflict of any kind slowly consumed me, this type of action-orientated, wide-spanning and tonally fluctuating show really wasn't my cup of tea. That, however, though, did not mean that I was blind. As my critical appraising abilities have formulated over the years, I could hear and see its reputation growing, being heralded for creating a new bar of animation quality when it comes to Western cartoons, delivering mature themes, a massive amount of in-universe lore, and providing characters that have lived long in the memory. It's back on Netflix here in the UK, and with its live-action counterpart being in the news for the wrong reasons, I felt that it was the right time to get all of my friends off of my back and give this a try at last. Let's see if this show can prove why it's heralded as the undisputed king of modern animation that it's claimed to be. From the moment The Boy and the Iceberg started, I knew this show was onto something, because no show does what this one did, setting up centuries of lore-expanding exposition before the title has even crossed the damn screen. It was easy to grasp and understand as you were jettisoned right into the present day, witnessing the beginning of a journey as Katara and Sokka, albeit accidentally, break the Avatar out of an icy cocoon. Unusually though, for an introductory session, this was slow burning, measured, and actually more fun-filled than I had anticipated, especially considering this is the first damn episode of a show it's meant to grab you by the balls. This didn't, and it was honestly quite surprising. Though they did establish our characters' core personalities, which is warranted, whilst also drip-feeding the importance of the lore we had just heard about into a newly awakened Aang's head as it helped make us all have sense of it all. The fact this was a double-header though, alongside its action-packed follow-up, Episode 2 The Avatar Returns, rubs me the wrong way in its execution. Why not couple both into a 44-minute unitary pilot? Because awkwardly splitting these two sections of one cohesive narrative into two separate episodes with two separate titles feels unnatural and makes my opinion of the former feel disjointed compared to the latter when there's much more to marvel at. Unlike many other episodes in Avatar's long and expansive canon, to not offer up the Part 1 and Part 2 treatment like they have done countless times over the time it ran feels awfully shallow and robbed me of a chance to sing the praises of this when all became one. That and the use of literal toilet humour by the Water Tribe's kiddos just to ensure that the comedic relief of Sokka was in place just didn't work for me and really made the tone of all this not feel as proud as it could have been. However, they are the lone grievances I have as the ever-present character development, wisecracking humour, and the inquisitive nature of its storytelling alongside stunningly choreographed fight scenes and moral statements of intent rang home so well that it's hard to ignore or keep the eyes away from it. Hell, even Sokka's abrasiveness was not an issue after a while, which was a pleasant surprise given how I had preceding expectations of said character that honestly way, back in 2005 were a major reason why I never wanted to give this show a watch in the first place, because God, I found soccer irritating. Either way, as the titular avatar went from riding penguins down a mountain to wiping out an inventory on a warship, all elements of continuity, world building, and a more endearing cast of characters came through, which is riveting and kept me engrossed, surprising in its dedication to composure and attention to detail. It sets the stage for more, and the following episodes made good on the promise and the expansion of the story ever more outwards, confident very much so in its direction. You can tell the writers and the creators of this show love the world and characters that have been made, as no stone is left unturned to ensure that everything comes round eventually. Every episode begins with a recap, but instead of just highlighting that, oh, this happened in the last episode, just in case you missed it, elements, little tiny pieces of those prior episodes are picked for them to ensure that the character and plot relevant threads for the upcoming episodes are highlighted for you, to ensure that you kind of have an idea what's going to be explored. That is something I have to tip my hat to. That is phenomenal structural stability that I wish was done more. What you see in those recaps, as I noted, is what you get when the episode unfolds, but in totally exclusive manner in how it adapts and accomplishes them. That, my God, is absolutely fantastic, and if you were not praising it up until this point, by God, you should do. The third episode, The Southern Air Temple, after the joyous and tense predecessors, manages to balance both with ease, as Aang's realization that he is truly the last of his kind manages to unveil itself gradually while offering up buoyant laughs to balance it out tonally. Yes, lore and world building are once again dripping out of every pore, as the slapstick and ego-driven side of Sokka plays comedically into their hands, as the relationship between Aang and Katara grows through a shared moral around loss and family. This, coupled with Zuko's battle with General Zhao, which was built up to and facilitated magnificently, I may add, was exhilarating, especially when every word spoken linked back to the past and secured the deposed prince's future, as we got those little narrative breadcrumbs about his story and just how much dirty laundry there is to uncover with that. Just as much as Aang did in equal measure right here, right now, at this moment. The destruction of a civilization and the importance Aang holds in this world was covered frankly, honestly, and maturely after his introductory statement last time, working wonders in proving that no episode of this show can be missed going forward if it keeps up at this rate of knots. And this was so chock full of substance, I was certain that this could not be bettered. But then the Warriors of Kyoshi turned up, broke down the door, and further won me over more than I already was, as this episode contains such a well-rounded A and B plot to where I could just sit back and enjoy the entertainment, as the notoriety of being the Avatar went to Aang's head, creating a jubilant sense of hilarious consequence, but still gave us a frugal butting of heads on moral grounds with Katara as noted before, and it also meant that Sokka could have his own spotlight for a change, where his chauvinistic attitude was being put into its place by the eponymous all-female warriors, especially their leader Suki, who, oh my God, Chef's Kiss is incredible, knocking his cringy character down a peg, but building him back up through hard graft and laughs aplenty before Zuko comes in to cap a confident crescendo on this with a phenomenal battle and experience to witness. And of course there was also some massive fish and sea serpents too, which was nice as well. Oh, and before I forget, I haven't talked about the tea-loving General Iroh throughout all of this. He is, as many of you who have seen this show would admit, is sublime. An absolutely fantastic comedic yet stern foil to the serious and inflammatory Zuko, which honestly is needed as his outbursts would get pretty annoying if they were just left to go unfiltered. The animation, though, on the broader spectrum of this, throughout all of these episodes, doesn't try to pry your eyes away from the story and characters who do most of the heavy lifting. It serves a utilitarian purpose to ensure that it just exists, and it becomes part of the scenery, so when it does stand out through some excesses, you can celebrate. And it did that quite a few times with some fantastic composition, some CGI that honestly still looks good today, vibrant facial expressions given the anime influence it's notably expected, and prominently, in my honest opinion, in the character, costume and setting design. Good lord, I think I could just live in this world and not feel too bad about it. On another side of this aspect of audiovisual visual delights, the vast array of tribal Asian music accents the world to make it just feel alive and breathing, to cap off what has already exceeded my initial expectations. Oh, and of course the voice acting is fantastic too, because this show simply doesn't do anything half-assed. And with that in mind, it just makes me feel so amazed, because this is a show that from the beginning knew exactly what it was doing and had its head screwed on for every step it took. Every action and reaction matters. Every word spoken has a weight that can be carried across multiple episodes. Every character has something to build upon and do, no matter how little their efforts actually are. Tonally, this all struck a balance between serious and relaxed without losing sight of when they were technically necessary to advance the story and the characters themselves. This amount of effort delivering such polished results in 88 minutes of animated television is incredible. And honestly, it has left me astounded that I even dared to let this one slip by for so damn long. So after all that, would I recommend Avatar: The Last Airbender? I mean, if you're watching this, you've probably already seen the show and know what my response is going to be. It's great! I mean, I probably should have expected nothing less, but there we go. God freaking damn. It's rare that I'm left so impressed by a first watch, but this was something else. Usually a show spends very little effort or the barest it can do to set up the characters, the core identity, and the story that the series will follow, trying to just offer you up the bells and whistles and any possible scenario to ensure that you know what it's capable of, all while leaving you asking questions of what more they could have done, taking a few episodes more to try and entrench itself in your brain, albeit fleetingly as far as I am concerned. Usually, I can look at a couple of episodes, get an opinion, and then just say, yeah, I'm going to take this on or not. This one, however, from the first episode just took me by the scruff of the neck and said, yeah, this is what we're doing, and you're gonna damn well like it. I was left in stark disbelief that shows are just not as well put together as Avatar: The Last Airbender is, because it set a standard that many have sung the virtues of, and now I completely understand why they do it. From the first echoing of that now famous opening sequence, it uses its time effectively to establish that vast world and the implications of every action taken by all characters who run within its well-built walls, establishing its future for the long term without breaking a fucking sweat. The episodes link together, but still feel unique unto themselves, whilst giving you consistency that makes the balance of drama and comedy not feel tired, despite some irksome moments of the latter popping up from time to time. Soccer. The use of recaps, flashbacks, exposition, and incredibly well-paced subversion of expectations through well-executed humour and witty remarks keep the story fresh in your mind as the characters, whether good or evil, do the same. This show is magnanimous in its quality and quantity, and yet doesn't hide from reminding you this has all been written with children in mind as a target audience. It treats the audience of all ages that comes with it with a declarative modicum of respect, intelligence, and maturity, the likes of which I've rarely seen from a Western animated property, and it left me feeling so satisfied and excited from just an introductory sample, there's no way I couldn't sing its praises as loud as I am doing here. I can watch the rest of this with assurance that it will be worth every goddamn minute. Believe me, by the time this goes up, I will have watched more of it. In fact, I will put a little note on screen saying where I got up to. The fact that it took me 15 years to actively give it a chance is a crime. And honestly, I regret ever thinking that just because my brother liked it, that I couldn't. What a warped perception that was. At the end of the day, though, I wish more shows had the conviction to be as thorough, comprehensive, and honestly, as blissfully simple in its entertainment as this was, because, goddamn, this show's reputation was well and truly earned. I've been Freddie Thomas, you've been people watching, this is the CC Network, and I'll see you all next time.